Hello, dear students of Term 2. Welcome to the third lecture of Grammar 2. Today we're going to talk about passive and active verbs. Passive and active verbs, you know, what we call in Arabic المبني للمعلوم والمبني للمجهول. طيب, you know that when it's a passive verb, that means that there is an object. But the object is not called an object in English. In English, it's always a subject. Whatever comes at the beginning of the sentence before the verb is the subject. We just say that in passive verbs, the subject receives the action of the verb. It receives the action. But in active verbs, the subject is the doer of the action. All right, let's now look at our written lecture. Passive verbs. The difference between active and passive verbs is that the subject in an active sentence does the action of the verb, while the subject in a passive sentence receives the action of the verb. We do not say that in a passive sentence we start with the object. I'm telling you this because I know that some people say this. We start with the object. No. Whatever comes in this position in an English sentence is a subject. Let's look at that. Ahmed broke the window. Ahmed here is a subject. Broke the window. Broke is the verb and the window is an object. Now, in a passive sentence, I would say the window was broken by Ahmed. We do not say that the window here is the object or that we're starting with the object. No, the window becomes a subject in the sentence, but it receives the verb. Ahmed broke the window in the first sentence. Ahmed is the subject and Ahmed is the doer of the verb or the action. All right? Let's look at this explanation. In the first sentence, Ahmed is the doer of the action. In the second sentence, the window, which becomes the subject in the sentence, receives the action. The action of breaking is received by the window. It's not done by the window. But in the first sentence, Ahmed is the doer of the action. Ahmed broke the window. Right. In passive verb sentences, the object becomes the subject and the subject becomes the object. How is that? M may even be omitted and the sentence would still be correct. The passive is used when the object is more important than the subject. Type. I want you to notice this, that in English, it's very common to start the sentence with the object or what receives the action, when the object in an active sentence is more important than the subject. يعني لو بقول أحمد, if I say that Ahmed broke the window, what is more important here? That the window was broken or that Ahmed broke it? Now, the window is more important, so it's common to say the window was broken by Ahmed. Now, sometimes I do not even mention the door. Let's read this again. In passive verb sentences, the object becomes the subject, that's the window, and the subject becomes the object. يعني becomes the object. When I say by, whatever comes after by is an object and may even be omitted and the sentence would still be correct. The passive is used when the object is more important than the subject. Right. To convert a sentence from active to passive, إني أغير الجملة من active to passive, we must identify the object. We should know where the object is and the subject. The object becomes a subject and the subject becomes the object with by. انتوا عارفين ان by, if you remember, by is a preposition, and whatever comes after a preposition is an object. If you remember, it is an object of the preposition. طيب. Next, when I know the subject and the object, next we form the passive verb according to the tense of the verb in the active sentence. According to the tense of the verb. طيب. The verb broke is a past tense verb. We use the past tense of the verb be, and it is followed by the past participle of the verb in the active sentence. يعني إيه؟ Ahmed broke the window. Broke is a past tense verb. But that means what? That my sentence in the passive voice should also be a past tense sentence. لازم هي كمان تبقى في الماضي. طيب. مش هقول يعني I cannot say يعني if we say Ahmed broke the window and then we start with the window, we're not going to say the window broke. We should always have verb to be, and it is followed by the past participle of the verb in the active sentence اللي هو broke. Past participle is broken. Right. We may include by plus object, and we may choose not to include it. يعني نقول Ahmed broke the window, subject, and the window is object. The window was broken by Ahmed. Now, the window here is the object, but we start with the window. The window becomes the subject in this sentence. All right? Now, by Ahmed, Ahmed is not a subject. Ahmed is the real subject, but in the sentence, grammatically speaking, من ناحية القواعد, it becomes the object. ممكن نقول the window was broken by Ahmed, and we can say the window was broken. Now, both 2 and 3, sentences 2 and 3, are correct passive sentences. Now, the form of the passive. These may be common errors with the form of the passive. يعني دي الغلطات اللي ممكن الناس تغلطها في الباssive sentences. يعني إني أقول the window was breaking by Ahmed. No. It has to be the past participle and not the present participle. The window was broken by Ahmed. Or the window will repaired by Ali. Now, we agreed that there must be verb to be. Was is verb to be, but will is not verb to be. Will be is verb to be in the future tense. فمفروض تبقى the window will be repaired by Ali. Now, in the first example, we should use the verb be plus past participle, not present participle. I cannot say the window was breaking. No. The window was broken. Was breaking the active, مش passive. اللي بيعمل passive verb to be and the past participle together. Now, in the second sentence, the verb be is not included. This should be included. There is a misprint here. ناقصة دي هنا, but I cannot add it because this is a PowerPoint presentation. All right. Let's look at the two sentences now when they are correct. The window was broken by Ahmed. Was broken, I have verb to be plus the past participle. The window will be repaired. It's not will repaired, but will be repaired. لازم verb to be. طيب. Let's look at exercise 37 then. The following sentences are passive. Underline the verbs that should be passive and indicate if the sentences are correct or incorrect. Let's look at number 1. They had never be forced to do something they did not want to do. Right. They is a passive. They is actually an object, you know, because if the sentence had been active, لو كانت الجملة في الactive in the active voice كنا هنقول مثلا we forced them, we had never forced them to do something they did not want to do. We had never forced them to do something they did not want to do. Right. Them, my object becomes a subject here. They had never been forced, not be, because I should have had been. دي حاجة كمان انتوا عارفينها من المحاضرات اللي قبل كده إن with had we should always have the past participle. Alright? With have or any form of have we have the past participle. ما ينفعش أقول had be, لازم أقول had been. يبقى had been forced is my passive verb. Now, number 2. The marks, subject, were given to students when the exams were corrected. Here I have 2 passive verbs. The marks, subject, were given, a verb to be, and the past participle. This is correct. When the exams, another subject, were corrected, verb to be, and the past participle. This is again a passive verb. Money is lending to farmers by agricultural banks. Money is lending. طيب احنا عارفين in when I change the sentence to passive it should be in the same tense. Is lending is present continuous. طيب ازاي هقولها بقى in passive? I should have verb to be, and the verb اللي هو lending لازم يبقى في الايه؟ في ال past participle. فهقول is being lent to farmers by agricultural banks. Number 4. The children had been. Chose. No, I need the verb to be in the past participle. The children had been chosen by the teacher to represent their school. The book for the course should have been, that's verb to be, approved. Approved is past participle, يبقى this is correct. The book for the course should have been approved by the instructor. The complaint has been, verb to be. Submitting, now submitting should be in the past participle, but this is an incorrect sentence. The complaint has been submitted over and over again. Has been submitted over and over again. Electricity bills have been, verb to be, increased, past participle, again and again by the government. This is correct. Voters who are too old to queue are being allowed in first. Now, this is again a sentence which is in the present continuous tense. Voters who are too old to queue يعني إنهم يقفوا في صف, are being, that's my verb to be, voters are being allowed in first. بيسمح لهم بالدخول أولا. Allowed is past participle. طيب الجملة دي مثلا كان أساسها إيه؟ We allow voters who are too old to queue in first. We are allowing voters, we are allowing, it's a present continuous active verb, يبقى برضو passive verb should be present continuous. We are allowing voters, يبقى voters are being allowed. يعني I'll move to the answer key so that you can have it in your CDs when you are correcting yourself. طيب they had never been forced يعني احنا عملنا الحاجات دي لكن I want you to have a look at them. The marks were given. This is correct. Money is lending. No, money is being lent. The children had been chosen by the teacher, had been chosen. The book for the course should have been approved. This is correct. The complaint has been submitting. No, has been submitted. And electricity bills have been increased. This is correct. Voters who are too old to queue are being allowed in first. All right? Let's now move to the next point in the passive verbs. طيب. Active, this is another point. Active and passive meanings. يعني active and passive meanings. المعنى إذا كان active or passive. نشوف الشرح ده وبعدين نقوله مع بعض. When there is no object in a passive sentence, يعني when there is no object, يعني ما فيش في الجملة by and the object. يعني لما أقول the window was broken by أحمد وشيل by أحمد, يبقى معناه إن there is no object in this sentence. When there is no object in a passive sentence, يعني معناها by plus the object, you should look at the meaning of the sentence. The meaning, this is incorrect. You should look at the meaning of the sentence to decide if the verb should be active or passive. طيب. He bought the paint for the room. طيب, يعني this is an active sentence. He bought the paint for the room. طيب. The object, which is the paint, becomes my subject. The paint was bought, was, verb to be, plus the past participle bought, by him, that's the object, for the room. طيب. يعني we do not care who really bought the paint. اللي مهم عندنا هو هنا ايه؟ the paint. فممكن نقول the paint was bought for the room. طيب. ينفع نقول the paint bought today for the room. هنا بقى I should look at the meaning. If the meaning could be active or passive. If my subject can do the verb or can do the action, can be the doer of the action, or if it only receives the action. That the paint was bought. معناها in the paint receives the action. لكن إن يقول the paint bought معناها in the subject is the doer of the action. وطبعا الدهان مش بيشتري، الدهان بيشترى. If you remember in grammar 1, I always told you that you could do grammar correctly even if you do not understand the meaning of sentences. لكن هنا you should know the meaning. لازم أعرف هنا إن كلمة paint إن the paint ما يقدرش يشتري, cannot be the doer of the action. It can only receive the action. All right? طيب. The first 3 sentences are correct. The fourth sentence اللي هي دي the paint bought زي ما شرحنا. The fourth sentence has an incorrect passive that looks like a correct verb. ليه؟ لأن I have a sentence with a subject and a verb. Because we have a sentence which starts with a subject and is followed by a verb. To determine that such a sentence is incorrect, عشان أحدد بقى إن الجملة دي غلط, we have to look at the meaning of the subject. لازم نشوف معنى الفاعل to decide whether it does the action or receives the action. Does the paint buy? الدهان بيشتري? Or does someone buy the paint ولا حد اللي بيشتريه? If you decide that someone buys the paint, then the verb should be passive. زي هنا. The paint was bought for the room. ليه؟ Because someone bought the paint for the room. Alright? طيب. Active and passive meanings. Remember this. Active, the subject does the action of the verb. Passive, the subject receives the action of the verb. طيب, let us look at exercise 38. Each of the following sentences contains at least one active verb, but some of the verbs should be passive. Underline the verbs and indicate if the sentences are correct or incorrect. طيب. The new books put on the shelves. طيب, هنا the new books is a subject. Put is an active verb. Now, here I should decide. Can the books put or does someone put the books? طبعا, the new books do not put something on the shelf. But someone puts the books on the shelf, فلازم تبقى إيه؟ The new books, هنا I should look at the verb put. This is a present tense verb, or it can be a past tense verb. لأن الفعل عندنا ده put is an irregular verb. Put. يعني ممكن أقول I just need verb to be here in the same tense. ممكن أقول the new books are put on the shelves, or the new books were put on the shelves. لأن put can be present, past, or past participle. I do not want to confuse you, مش عايزة ألخبطكم، لكن أنا ممكن برضو أقول the new books زي ما بقول are put on the shelves. The new books were put on the shelves, past tense. ممكن أقول the new books have been put on the shelves, or the new books had been put on the shelves. All sentences are correct. Why? Because I decide the tense of the sentence from this verb. And this verb can be either present, past, or past participle. Let's look at number 2. The film began just a few minutes ago. هنا يعني I should think. Does the film begin? Is the film the doer of the action? Or does someone begin the film? يعني العادي ان احنا نقول the film began. The film began just a few minutes ago. مع جملة زي دي الجملة دي صح، لكن لو عملت مثلا جملة تانية بنفس النظام ده، يعني لو قلت the book wrote by let us say نجيب محفوظ مثلا. The book wrote زي the film began، لكن هنا the book cannot write. The film can begin but the book cannot write. يبقى لازم دي تبقى ايه؟ The book was written by نجيب محفوظ. Alright? So you should always think about the meaning of the passive and the active. يبقى the film began just a few minutes ago. This is correct. Let's look at number 3. Everything to prepare for the operation has already done. طيب, has done, this is an active verb. طيب, does everything, my subject is everything. Does everything do, or does somebody do everything? طبعا في حد هو اللي بيعمل everything. طيب, يبقى this sentence is incorrect. Everything to prepare for the operation has, بعد has, and I don't have verb to be, يبقى has already been done. Let's look at number 4. The police questioned all those connected with the robbery. The police questioned all those connected with the robbery. طيب الجملة دي, do I have a passive here? The police, that's my subject. Questioned, my verb. It's an active verb. All those connected with the robbery. And I want to remind you of something. Connected. انتوا عارفين and it could be, and we're going to explain this later on, but I did explain it in term 1 as well, in grammar 1. The police questioned all those connected with the robbery. Connected دي أقول عليها إيه؟ It can be used as an adjective. لكن هنا, if you remember, connected with the robbery, those connected with the robbery. Type. Can I say that connected is an adjective? It can be used as an adjective, but you know that adjectives always come before the nouns they describe. يبقى هنا, if I want to remind you عشان نفتكر, connected هنا اللي كنا بنقول عليها in term 1 reduced adjective clause. دي اللي تيجي بعد الاسم. يبقى all those who were connected. وعلشان يبقى عندي just one clause in the sentence, يبقى I'm going to omit the subject and the verb of the adjective clause. فبدل ما تبقى all those who were connected with the robbery, هتبقى those connected with the robbery. Alright? طيب. Number 5. The box containing the cards has just sent. برضو ناخد بالنا في الجملة دي. The box, remember that we do not divide grammar. We do not divide grammar. يعني الجرامر اللي عرفناه في term 1 يعني will always be with us. This is something that you've learned and you should always keep it. And as I told you at the beginning of this course, we are going to be examined in both A and B, in both grammar 1 and grammar 2. طيب هفكركم برضو بحاجة هنا. نقول الجملة بس زي ما احنا شايفينها كده. The box containing the cards has just sent. فين الجملة الأساسية هنا؟ The box, that's my subject. The box has just sent. Let's look at this. The box has just sent. This is my subject. The box has just, I don't have verb to be. لازم تبقى has just been sent. ايه المعنى؟ نبص على المعنى. The box has just been sent. لأن the box cannot be the doer of sending. الطرد ولا الصندوق مش بيبعت، هو بيتبعت. لكن نيجي عند containing again أفكركم this is a reduced adjective clause. كان مفروض إن الجملة the box which is containing the cards has just been sent. Let's look at the sentence here. The box has just been sent. دي الجملة الأساسية. لكن the box which is containing the cards has just been sent. طيب ايه اللي جه؟ انتوا عارفين ان ال adjective clause is something which only adds meaning but you can omit it. يبقى the box which is containing the cards to reduce again this adjective clause I omit which اللي هي الفاعل هنا في الclause and I omit the verb and then I only have containing. Containing is not a verb. Containing becomes very much like an adjective بس ما اقدرش اقول عليها adjective لانها بتيجي بعد الاسم. هي لما تيجي قبل الاسم اقول عليها adjective لكن لما تيجي بعد الاسم معناها ان this is a reduced clause. طيب let's look at number 6. The summer vacation will plan carefully before they finish exams. طيب the summer vacation اجازة الصيف will plan يعني can the summer vacation plan or does someone plan the summer vacation? طبعا someone they here they are going to plan the summer vacation. يبقى لازم اقول ايه the summer vacation will be planned carefully before they finish exams. طيب the milk turned sour when it did not boil. شوفوا بقى هنا أنا لازم دايما أفكر في المعنى. يعني هنا لما أقول the milk turned sour يعني رب turned sour became bad. It turned sour يعني باظ. طيب this is an action which is done by the subject here the milk. لكن أنا عندي another verb when it did not boil. When it did not boil. طيب هنا معناها ان it the milk is the doer of the action which is boiling. أنا ممكن أقول the milk is boiling. The milk is boiling. المعنى ممكن ينفع the milk is boiling اللبن بيغلي. لكن إني أقول the milk turned sour when it did not boil لا هو الفعل اللي عمله اللبن إنه راب because someone did not boil it يعني it needed someone to boil it. هو طبعا المعنى هنا في بتبقى فروق قليلة قوي في المعنى and you have to be conscious to this. ما اقدرش اقول the milk turned sour when it did not boil. لا when it was not boiled. When it was not boiled كان لازم حد يغليه. طيب number 8 the match won in the last minute. طيب does the match win or do the players win the match? Players win the match. So the match receives the action. It's not the doer of the action. يبقى the match was لأنه won برضو هنا الجملة دي the match was won in the last minute. طيب won is win won won. This is an irregular verb win won won. طيب so when I'm looking at this sentence the match won in the last minute طبعا احنا قررنا ان someone wins the match. تاني حاجة لازم نقررها ان we should decide the tense of the verb. The match won in the last minute. طيب يبقى won دي is either a past, it's either the past form or the past participle form. Right? يبقى ده معناه إني ممكن أقول the match was won in the last minute، وممكن إني أقول the match had been won or has been won in the last minute. We would regard this all as correct. Okay? طيب. Let's look at number 9. The clothes made to rival the latest fashion of the season. الهدوم اتعملت بحيث انها تنافس اخر صيحات في الموسم. طيب هنا برضو the clothes is my subject. Made. Do the clothes make themselves or are they made by someone? They are made by someone. يبقى this sentence should be a past, a passive, should have a passive verb. يبقى the clothes were made to rival the latest fashion of the season. وممكن برضو أقول the clothes are made to rival the latest fashion of the season. When prices are high, goods do not buy. When prices are high, goods do not buy. Type goods. Do goods buy, or does someone buy the goods? People buy goods. So goods, when you think about the meaning, إذا فكرنا في معناها، البضائع مش بتشتري، البضائع بتشترى. يبقى do not buy، لا، goods do not buy، this is active. Goods are not bought. Are not bought. Are verb to be, bought past participle. Type. Let us now look at the answer key of exercise 38. Type. Number 1. The new books put on the shelves? No. The new books were put on the shelves. وممكن أقول are put. The film began just a few minutes ago. This is correct. Everything to prepare for the operation has already done. No. Has already been done. Let me remind you again of something, that everything is singular. أي كلمة. Everything, everybody, everyone. أي كلمة قبلها everything مش يعني كل الحاجات. This is not plural. This is singular and should take a singular verb اللي هو has مش have. يبقى everything to prepare for the operation has already been done. The police questioned all those connected with the robbery. This is correct. The box containing the cards has just sent. لا, has just been sent. The summer vacation will plan carefully before they finish exam. No. The summer vacation will be planned. The milk turned sour when it did not boil. لا, when it was not boiled. The match won in the last minute. But the match was won. Doesn't win. It is won. The clothes made to rival the latest fashion of the season. The clothes were made to rival the latest fashion of the season. And the last one, when prices are high, goods do not buy. No, goods do not buy. Goods are bought. يبقى when prices are high, goods are not bought. All right, that finishes our topic today, active and passive verbs. Remember that in passive verbs, you should always have verb to be, and if you're changing from active to passive, always look at the verb. دايما أبص على الفعل عشان أعرف التنس بتاعه. According to the tense in the active sentence, when I change it into passive, لازم verb to be يبقى في نفس التنس وبعد كده يبقى عندي the past participle. This is one thing. Sometimes when I change into passive or when I'm writing a passive sentence, I can include the object which is originally the doer of the action. يعني ممكن أقول زي ما قلنا the window was broken by أحمد. أقول the speech a speech was given by the chairman. وممكن طيب تعالوا نشوف جمل زي دي. لو أنا بقول a speech was given by the chairperson. chairperson انتوا عارفين كلمة chairman بس لأن sometimes the chairperson is a man or a woman, this is the word which is now used. A chairperson. طيب هنا لما أقول a speech was given by the chairperson. افرضوا ان انا بقول بس a speech was given. الجملة هنا محتاجة حاجة because يعني the subject here is important, the speech, وعشان كده جبتها في الأول. لكن it's equally important to know who gave the speech. مهم برضو إني أعرف مين اللي قال الخطبة أو قال الكلمة. it's always left to my discretion. دي حاجة دايما بتبقى متروكة للي بيتكلم أو للي بيكتب. إمتى هو محتاج يذكر في الباسيف الأوبجكت اللي هو أساسا السبجكت، وإمتى مش محتاج. يعني تعالوا مثلا لو قلنا جملة زي stamps، لا you can buy stamps. You can buy stamps at the post office. طيب if I change that to passive هقول stamps. You can buy stamps, that's the object فبقت هي subject. stamps عندي can buy يبقى can be bought at the post office. هنا يعني مش هقول by you. It would be a very bad sentence. It's always left to my sense of what I should say and what I do not have to include. دايما دي متروكة لحس اللي بيكتب أو اللي بيتكلم امتى يقول الأوبجكت أو امتى ما يقولوش. مش مهم ان انا اقول by you، يعني ما ينفعش ان انا اقول by you. لكن في جملة زي الأولانية اللي هي بتاعت a speech was given by the chairperson، دي مهم ان انا يعني it's important to say to know who gave the speech, right? لكن it's not important to say by you. It's even bad English to say by you. Anybody can buy stamps at the post office. All right? The second thing to remember is the meaning of the sentence, the meaning of the word. Can this word, can this subject do the action? Can it be the doer of the action? If it can be the doer of the action, then I have an active voice verb. If it cannot do the action, then I should have a passive verb. زي الجملة بتاعت paint. Paint bought؟ لا. Paint was bought. Goods buy؟ no. Goods are bought. Right? لكن ممكن أقول طبعا the film began. The lecture began. مش ضروري أقول the lecture was begun. لأن المهم عندي هنا إن المحاضرة نفسها ابتدت، مش إن حد بداها. alright؟ والمحاضرة ممكن تبتدي والفيلم ممكن يبتدي والنهار ممكن يبتدي والليل بيجي. يعني دي بتبقى active voice verbs. They take active voice verbs. يعني ما أقول مثلا ده بالظبط زي ما أقول لما إني أقول the film began ولا the lecture began، دايما زي بالظبط ما بقول the sun، يعني the sun rose. Alright? طيب, okay. We meet next time for lecture number 4 for another topic, inshallah. Thank you and see you again soon.